This video is brought to you by AccraGhana.com, a website and project dedicated to the vibrant capital city of Ghana, Greater Accra, located on the west coast of Africa at the Gulf of Guinea. And 7. Paragraph 7, we talk about borrowing to breathe. Imagine a country where, a lot of YouTubers like to say that we living in the West, we live on credit, like our credit cards. So that's maybe in America. Yeah, a lot of people do the same thing here in Europe. But in Ghana, a lot of people borrow. Okay, if you are a teacher and you are earning 500 cedis, 700 Ghana cedis, 1,000 Ghana cedis, how the hell are you going to get through the month? You have to borrow, right? And Ghana has become a nation where people borrow to breathe. It starts from the top with the politicians who are just borrowing and borrowing and borrowing money, especially when they get closer to leaving office. That's what they do. And paragraph 8, we talk about the freelancer's fantasy. Like everybody has become like the freelancer, right? You see so many Ghanaians, especially the youth, have gotten into the industry of freelancers, gig economy, right? And they are hoping to get a job somewhere in overseas. You have no idea how many people have contacted me from all over Africa for me to find them remote jobs, because they can find almost the same thing in Ghana or in whatever country that they are in on the continent, but the pay is not good enough, right? What they will earn is literally nothing. But if they can find a remote work, right, maybe here in Europe or in America, I think it has become something like it is the only way that you can survive, like in remote work. You see so many Ghanaians. Imagine a country where you leave school, right? Your parents have actually worked extremely hard. They paid for your school fees. You have graduated and you can't even find a job. Even if you find a job, the salary is not good enough. I've always said that Ghana and the rest of the continent and the countries on the continent have to actually thank a company like Google or the high-tech companies, the social media platforms. I don't really like them, because the reason why I don't really like them, I think they are extracting the most important resource that we have on the continent, which is talent. And they are doing that remotely. Somehow I think the Ghanaian government and the politicians have to actually thank a company like Google. They can also learn a lot from Google, right? Like YouTube. Look at how many Ghanaians have become YouTubers, right? Because it's not just enough for you to earn cedis. You have to earn a lot of money from overseas. Ghana is gone. Ghana is sold out to foreigners. Let's take a look at paragraph 9. Very interesting. The salary mirage. You're going to have to read it in order for you to understand what it's about, right? At the end of every month, the article says, workers celebrate their salary like a national holiday. And then reality hits. I'm not going to read all of it for you, but I think I will encourage you to wait when this article is published, which is about money in Ghana. You can read it. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun. You can share it with your friends and your family members and also your followers. And Ghana salary, okay, doesn't motivate anybody. It doesn't motivate anybody, right? I mean, imagine, right? Can you live on your salary in Ghana? The answer is absolute no. So you have expatriates, diasporians who are coming in and they still have to rely on their income from overseas in order for them to live there. That is not a country. Ghana is not a country. I've always said that Ghana is a joke, and I really mean it. You cannot build a country where people, even if they have jobs in that country, they cannot live on their salary. Let's move on to paragraph 10. If you like this type of introduction of some of our blogs, you can leave a lot of comment. Leave your comment below and tell me why you like it, and if I should do more, or if we should go back to the American podcasters AI that we use to create videos. Right, let's take a look at paragraph 10. Inflation and the price of shame. Holy crap. Inflation and the price of shame. He said, it says over here, nothing hurts like watching your cedi lose weight. Right? It says it a lot, right? The cedi is so reliant, or depends so much, is so attached. Its power, its value is so attached to the US dollar that if Americans sneeze, Ghanaians will literally fall sick, or they will catch fever. Okay, that is not currency. And if you have a country, the one thing that you want to control is inflation. If you cannot control inflation, you won't have a country. You won't have a nation. And Ghanaian politicians have demonstrated over and over and over and over again that they have absolutely no control over the inflation that is destroying Ghana and the currency of Ghana. They have demonstrated over decades. Now, let's move on to paragraph 11. The church and the hustle. Ghanaians are religious people, and I think it is both good and bad, and it is also a blessing and a curse, because we have actually invested so heavily into our religion that we have actually forgotten to do the right things. The right things for our country and for our people and for our land. You see churches everywhere. Faith. If you look at Europeans, they are not really that religious. Even though they brought Christianity, they think that they brought Christianity to Africa, even though Christianity has actually had been on the continent of Africa, especially if you go to a place like Ethiopia. There are churches that are older than probably the churches in Vatican, right? But one group, one demographic that they do not believe in God, that they are atheists, they are the white male, right? And look at how they have actually built their country. But if you go to the African continent, we worship God blindly. God didn't say that you should allow your people to survive, especially if you have land. If you have land, your people should not starve. If you allow your people to starve, you have offended God. Really, simply. If you have land, your people should have proper accommodation, proper shelter. But go to Ghana and see how Ghanaians live. And then compare to the Europeans that have actually moved from Europe, or Americans that have actually moved from America. Compare the majority of Ghanaians, how they live, and how these Europeans live. So you have built basically a country for foreigners. You really enjoy reading this section, this paragraph. I encourage you to do that. This video is brought to you by AccraGhana.com, a website and project dedicated to the vibrant capital city of Ghana, Greater Accra, located on the west coast of Africa at the Gulf of Guinea.